herzlich willkommen bei whisky.de, dem Treffpunkt feiner Geister. Und ihr könnt sehen, ich bin im verregneten Irland. Ja, deswegen nennt man sie auch die grüne Insel, denn ja, Pflanzen brauchen Wasser zum Wachsen. Ich bin hier in West Cork im kleinen Dorf Skibbereen und hier ist die West Cork Distillers Location, also die Distillerie. Gegründet wurde das Ganze 2003 von 3 Jugendfreunden, John O'Connor und den Cousins Ger McCarthy und Dennis McCarthy. Die haben das sogar wirklich im Haus von Dennis daheim gemacht mit einer 100-Liter-Still und haben einfach mal ein bisschen was destilliert. Das ist dann irgendwann immer größer geworden und 2011 sind sie in die Market Street gegangen. Also das war ihre erste Distillerie, wo sie dann eben schon 2 etwas größere Stills hatten von Arnold Holstein und noch die Rocket Still, und da haben sie sich aber auch schon ein bisschen vergrößert und immer reinvestiert und aufgebaut. Und sie sind dann später 2017 hier in die Marsh Road gekommen, und das ist ein großes Areal. Das haben sie aber auch schon öfters jetzt wieder größer gemacht und renoviert. Was lustig ist, das sind wirklich Jugendfreunde, also wirklich Jungs aus dem Dorf. Und die haben vorher in diesem Gebäude schon gearbeitet. Das war ein altes Gebäude, wo Sachen in Konserven verpackt wurden, und die haben da schon gearbeitet. Und denen war es sogar wirklich war ein bisschen traurig, dass das Gebäude dann irgendwann verfallen ist, und haben es wieder aufgebaut. Aber sie mussten viel dazu bauen, weil das Gebäude viel zu klein war. Und ja, und heute werden wir uns mal anschauen, was die Brennerei so macht. 2019 haben sie noch ihr Sortiment überarbeitet, aber sie sind sich immer ihren Grundwerten treu geblieben. Irish, Whisky, Triple Distilled, keine Kühlfilterung, keine Lagerung. Und das ist echt schön. Und jetzt gehen wir mal rein und gucken, wie das Ganze so aussieht. Alles fängt natürlich mit den Rohstoffen an. Und das Getreide ist das Wichtigste. Das Getreide kommt hauptsächlich aus im Osten der Cork-Region oder Irland. Und das ist schön, denn im Westen wird mehr so Fleisch produziert und Milch und Dairy. Und sie verarbeiten hier das Getreide, und das, was rauskommt, der Treber, ist toll zum Verkaufen an die Bauern, die damit ihre Rinder füttern können oder ihre Kühe füttern können. Denn es hat am Ende sehr, sehr viel Proteine. Denn zur Whiskyproduktion braucht man eigentlich nur Zucker oder eben Stärke. Und da fängt man an mit erst haben wir hinten noch eine Hammermühle, da wird das Getreide gemahlen, aber diesmal in ein Mehl. Normalerweise haben wir ja immer nur so einen Schrot, aber hier wird es in ein Mehl gemahlen. Deswegen muss man viel mehr Wasser hinzufügen, damit das Ganze flüssig bleibt. Sonst hat man irgendwann einen Teig und dann hat man ein Problem, weil einen Teig kriegt man aus so einem Tank nicht mehr leicht raus. Ja, in der Mash-Tun, sie haben 6 Stück mit 60.000 Liter Volumen. Sie haben noch ein zweites Mash-Haus mit 3 Stück mal 30.000. Das sind die alten. Die werden zurzeit nicht benutzt, aber die könnten noch reaktivieren und mehr produzieren. Ja, und mit diesem Mash, das wird auch erhitzt. Erstmal leicht erhitzt, 60 Grad, und endet dann irgendwo bei 80, 90 Grad, um eben die Stärke in Zucker aufzuspalten, um was richtig schön Zuckriges zum Fermentieren zu haben. Ja, weiter geht's dann mit der Fermentation. Hinter mir sieht man, ja, sie haben ein großes Business für die Fermentation. Sie haben insgesamt mittlerweile 25 von diesen 40.000 Liter Fermentationstanks. Und wenn man das natürlich draußen macht, dann hat man immer ein großes Problem zwischen Winter, was so 1, 2, 3 Grad hat, und im Sommer kann es dann auch mal ein bisschen wärmer werden, auch hier. Und deswegen hat man hier Cooling Jackets, also im Grunde Wassermäntel, die die Temperatur innerhalb des Fermentationstanks konstant halten. Dafür haben sie auch einen großen Kühlturm, mit dem sie da arbeiten. Und das gibt einfach eine viel bessere Qualitätskontrolle. Das ist nicht ganz so traditionell, aber die Qualität ist bedeutend besser. Sie benutzen eine Brewers Yeast, eine sehr gängige Brewers Yeast in flüssiger Form. Das ist auch Qualitätskontrolle. Die Trockenhefe, die ist immer ein bisschen schwierig zum Vermengen. So flüssige Hefe ist einfach toll, setzt in der Leitung dazu, und das ist einfach von der Qualität her auch bedeutend besser. 72 Stunden fermentieren sie dann und bekommen dann zwischen 9 und 10% Alkohol raus, die dann weitergehen in die Destillation. Ja, mal wieder im Herzstück der Brennerei. Und das hier ist ein Stillhaus mit ganz vielen Stills drin. Insgesamt hat die Brennerei 16 Stills und sie produzieren ja ganz viele verschiedene Dinge. Also sie produzieren, hinter mir sieht man Dreifachdestillation. Das ist ja, der Whisky, West Cork Whisky wird nur dreifach destilliert. Sie können aber auch zweifachen machen. Es gibt auch Wodka, den sie vierfach destillieren. Also sie können einstellen, was sie wollen. Im hinteren Raum gibt es noch eine kleine Expansion, weil sie auch für ihren West Cork mehr brauchen. Und da sind dann nochmal 3 dicke, breite irische Potstills drin. Also da wird eben der Whisky hergestellt. Sie machen aber auch eben White Label, also andere ja, Whisky, den man eben unter seinem eigenen Label abfüllen kann. Eben nach Spezifikationen muss man sich mit ihnen ja, zusammensetzen, aber man muss natürlich auch das genötige Geld und die nötige Volumen mitbringen. Dann geht es weiter. Als nächstes sehen wir diese hohen, dünneren Column Stills und unten noch mit Pot. Das sind die Rum Stills, also hier wird auch Rum gebrannt. Und die ja, weißen Pot, also die stählernen Pot Stills ohne Kupfer im Hintergrund, das sind dann die, ja, sie nennen sie Neutral Spirit Stills, also im Grunde Wodka oder Potin ist auch sehr ähnlich dazu. Also die, bei denen es weniger auf den Geschmack ankommt. Insgesamt können sie 16,5 Millionen Liter reinen Alkohol, also gerechnet auf reinen Alkohol, im Jahr produzieren. Das ist aber ihre absolute Kapazität. Wir sind zum Beispiel jetzt gerade wieder in einem Wartungszyklus. Es ist schön, dass es ein bisschen leiser hier ist. Und ja, sie sagen so, sie produzieren im Jahr irgendwo ja, 11 Millionen, vielleicht 12 Millionen. Kommt aufs Jahr drauf an, was halt bestellt wird, wie viel man produzieren will. Genau. Und die Gin Still habe ich jetzt nicht erwähnt. Da sollte es dann ein eigenes Video dazu geben. Das Lagern bei West Cork ist ja eines ihrer Spezialitäten. Wenn wir uns so ein bisschen die Core Range anschauen bei ihnen, ist die riesig. Also sie haben ja sehr viele verschiedene Abfüllungen mit verschiedenen Holz- und Fassarten. Normal wird abgefüllt hier so in die normalen Bourbonfässer. Davon sieht man hier eine ganze Menge. Aber es gibt auch ganz viele spezielle Fässer. Und das sind dann die Calvados, IPA, Portwein, Rum, Sherry, Stout, frische Weißeichenfässer, Rotwein und auch Missionara-Eichenfässern. Wobei die natürlich dann ein bisschen weniger sind, weil Missionara-Eiche ist sehr teuer. Und hinter mir sieht man zum Beispiel hier diese riesigen Sherryfässer. Sie haben auch einen eigenen Prozess des Abfüllens der Fässer. Da haben sie sich eine eigene Maschine bauen lassen, wo man eine kleine Palette mit 6 Bourbonfässern gleichzeitig befüllen kann. Aber sie haben auch manuelle Prozesse, wo man eben sehr viele verschiedene Fässer, verschiedene Fassarten befüllen kann. Das ist natürlich wichtig, weil dafür ist West Cork bekannt. Sie haben on-site 3 Lagerhäuser mit insgesamt ca. 33.000, 35.000 Liter Kapazität. Sind natürlich nicht immer alle gefüllt, weil alles immer raus und rein geht. Und auch nicht mit all ihren Fässern befüllt. Also sie haben auch, man sieht hier auch hin und wieder mal ein paar andere Namen draufstehen, für wen sie dann eben diese Fässer hier lagern und produzieren. Insgesamt, sagen sie, haben sie 150.000 bis 160.000 Fässer, die dann halt auch noch offsite irgendwo gelagert werden. Das ist dann halt auch ein gutes Stückchen für sie eine Absicherung, dass wenn hier irgendwo ein Feuer ausbrechen würde, dann wären sie nicht ganz am Ende, weil sie noch in anderen Lagerhäusern auch noch Whisky gelagert hätten. Weiter geht es dann mit der Abfüllstraße, wo sie dann auch wirklich selber den Whisky in Flaschen abfüllen. Ich habe gesagt, die Whisky-Lagerhäuser, denn es gibt ein Lagerhaus nur für Glas und ein Lagerhaus gibt es auch nur für Korken und die ganze Packaging außenrum. Genau, und hier endet dann die Reise des Whiskys und ich darf jetzt nochmal mit einem der Gründer ein Interview und ein Tasting führen. So, das war's mit der Produktion und jetzt gibt es noch ein kleines Tasting und ein bisschen Interview. So that was it with the production and let's have a little bit of a tasting and a little bit of an interview with John Harrington. You're like the production manager here?
Yeah, so I look after the manufacturing here in West Cork. So I suppose I'm with the company 4.5 years. And mainly from when the grain comes in the gate here until we put it into the cask. That's kind of my responsibility in the company.
Okay, so you're a bit more of the production side, a bit more into like quality assurance and like
exactly,
okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So I love the big range that you have here, and what's kind of working well here in Germany is actually the Thin Lizzy, and it's one of your blended products. I've heard. Okay, so so this is then not just done on the pot stills, but also on the column stills.
Yeah, so it's a blend of grain and malt. So at the moment we have one column still here. Now that column still is producing about 1.5 million LPAs a year.
Okay.
And I suppose the unique thing about it is that it's barley in the mash bill rather than maize. So that's
okay.
That's one unique thing about the grain mash bill, I suppose.
But is it then a grain or is it the malt from barley?
So I suppose we're unique here in West Cork where we use 100% Irish grain. So the vast majority of distilleries in the country that are running column stills, they import maize. So we try and stay away from maize and we try and use 100% Irish grain. So it'll be unmalted barley and some malt that goes into the grain portion of the spirit.
Is it because of the enzymes?
Exactly. So you need some malt in there for that. Now, you can obviously use naturally occurring enzymes in Ireland, but we try and stay away from them as much as possible.
So you don't add any enzymes. You just go.
Sometimes we do for some different spirits. We do depending on the mash bill. But.
So this was kind of something with a rock band or something, but I'm not familiar. Are you familiar with it?
Yeah, well, it would have been Joey Shore now would have led that project, but it would have been with the band and their family members. They would have done a collaboration and launched that brand, and we actually did a rum version of it as well.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, we do quite a lot here. Like we do any spirit really that you can think of. We've gin, we've done rum, obviously vodka, whiskey, and poteen, which will be an Irish, traditional Irish spirit as well. So,
but is it a like traditional poteen where you don't pay any taxes?
no, we pay tax and everything here.
Yeah, I think Thin Lizzy was something big in the 70s. So if you know that, write it down in the comments because I'm really not familiar with Thin Lizzy. But I think it was a Irish band in the 70s that was really big.
Yeah. No, their music is good, to be fair.
You can really smell that you have the Irish light style, easy.
Yeah.
Oh, I like it. And you said it's double charred.
It's in a double charred cask as well, yeah. So it will be quite heavily charred as well.
Oh, so it's lovely vanilla caramel.
Yeah.
Charring takes off the edges. It's lovely. Ooh, sweeter than expected.
Yeah.
Well, you said it's 100% barley because it feels a little bit like something caramelly, like popcorn, or like something like really.
Yeah, and you would think when you're doing a grain mash bill with just barley that it would be. I suppose slightly harsher than not as sweet as using maize, but no, the barley comes out quite well out of the mash bill.
Oh, I like it, and it has something like also has good bourbon character. It has a bit of a citrusy character, a little bit of a good amount of sweet character. So the area around here we do have today a lot of rain.
Yeah, it's common.
Is it hard for you when you have like the fermenters outside? Is it like a problem with the climate changes, or not climate change, but the climate differences between summer and winter?
I suppose we're quite lucky down here that it's a mesothermal climate, that it's kind of a constant temperature all the time. That I suppose if you take an average temperature, maybe 14 degrees, 15 degrees. It's probably on the high side even. It doesn't vary much from winter to summer here, so the maturation conditions are quite constant, which is a good thing. Obviously in the bourbon you've obviously a lot more interaction with the wood, and that helps the bourbon industry. But for the lighter style spirit, that mesothermal climate helps us here in Ireland. Yeah.
Ah, okay. So, interesting. So this year is then the next one. So you always mature in bourbon casks. Is that like a standard length or?
For the malt range, so we've 7 different finishes in our malt range, in our single malt range, and we have a couple of different styles in the bottles. So these bottles here, they're what we call the maritime bottles. So of those 7 finishes, basically we mature for 3 years in a ex-bourbon cask, first fill.
And this is now the sherry.
Yeah, so we would have left it in the bourbon cask for three years, and then we'd take it out, we'd disgorge and put it into the sherry cask, and we'd leave it there anything from 6 months to a year. So, and all of these finishes are anything from 3.5 years to 4. Some might even be 4.5 years. So we kind of we do it off sensory analysis really to know when the spirit is or the whiskey is finished maturing.
So you said you have 7 bottles in the core range. Is that hard to handle as in warehouse? Are you in the warehousing as well?
So I wouldn't be involved in it directly, but I'd be quite aware of it. So like even from the bottling, there's 7 in only our malt finishes alone. So we actually have other ranges in like our bourbon cask, black cask. And then we have other finishes like IPA finishes, Glengarry series. So in total in the West Cork range, you're probably talking maybe 15 to 20 SKUs. So yeah, it's quite a lot of dry goods. I think it's the guys that are directly involved in the warehousing and bottling. It is a bit of a balancing act because, as you see from the tour of the site, it's quite full. I know it's a big site. It's
a lot of forklifting. Like we need that cask, like 5 of these from back there.
Yeah, yeah. So it is a bit of a balancing act, even from like we have maturation warehouses off-site as well. So if we wanted some of our sherry casks now, for example, and if it wasn't on this site, there was a bit of organising to bring trucks back from other warehouses, but obviously you don't want to bring back just 2 pallets of sherry casks. So
you want a full truck.
There's a lot of planning goes around it too.
Okay, I like it. You still have a bit of that bourbon character in there.
Yeah.
And it's just the finish on top. So this is not like full-fledged sherry bomb and everything, but you have a nice bourbon character. I think maybe it's just that I know it, but it feels like a triple distill. It feels very round.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure if it's triple distilled or it's just your style.
Yeah, I think it's hard to beat a bourbon cask finish, and it gives you a good base to do the rest of your finishes from. So that's why we do 3 years in an ex-bourbon cask as our baseline or our starting point for all of our different finishes. Just gives you a good starting point before you put it into that finish.
Oh, very very nice. It has a bit of that feel from the Thin Lizzy, like the bourbon cask, but very juicy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that with the sherry cask when you have the juicy one. I'm not quite sure what kind of sherry it is, but very juicy, very fruity, very very alive. I like it. And yeah, 46, I've had the 43.
Yeah.
46 has a bit more kick to it.
Yeah, so the maritime bottles, they're all 46%, and the taller 700ml bottles, the standard bottles, we bottle them at 43%. So there is 2 different strengths available in the maritime cask as well. So it's another thing with your different, as I said, we probably have about 15 to 20 SKUs or different finishes, but then you have different strengths, you have different labels for different countries, so it's a bit of a minefield.
yeah. And talking about the minefield, now you used to have like 3 stills for the triple distilled West Cork, and now you're working yourself up to, is it 9?
We have
like the new ones are 6 new ones, and then you have 9 with the old ones.
We actually have 21 stills on the site. So no, 3 of them aren't commissioned yet. So we have we've 3 column stills, 2 gin stills, and then the rest are pots. So yeah, there's 21 stills. So
is it hard, like to when you have the expansion and all that kind of stuff going on? Is it hard to get the flavor right?
Yeah, it's quite difficult. I suppose where we kind of differ slightly in West Cork is that we don't actually have a master distiller as such.
Okay.
I suppose we rely a huge amount on automation here, so a lot of people might see that as a negative, but I suppose the consistency that we get off our stills because of this automation is unbeatable, to be honest.
Okay.
So all of our time goes into commissioning a still, and as you say, trying to find the right distillate style of the still, trying to match it to what we've previously done. So once we've a still installed and running, we could be 6 months commissioning a still before we put it into full production. So it does take a huge amount of time trying to match it to previous distillate profiles.
Okay, and everybody is sitting there like...
Yeah, so I suppose how we actually do it, to be honest, we've a GC machine and GCMS machine, so we take the distillate and we'll inject it in the lab.
Oh, okay.
And we get a full congener analysis of the spirit, and we know our previous styles, so we get it as close as we can by that, and that gives us a good starting point, I suppose. But at the end of the day, it all comes down to sensory, so we've a very good sensory panel here on site.
Okay.
So they'll actually do the sensory analysis on it and make sure that the distillate is fitting into that style. Because at the end of the day, it's the GC machine and the lab equipment does give you a good baseline or a good starting point, but you're not selling spirit machine at the end of the day.
You're not selling the numbers, you're selling the experience.
Exactly. Yeah. So it gives you a good starting point, and it probably cuts out a lot of cuts down a lot of the time, but you still need the sensory panel to get it right.
Yeah. So I have now the rum cask finished. So when you do your own rum, you use your own rum cask, or do you import them?
No, we actually import it. No, I can't think of the name of the distillery that we import them from, but they're all imported. Our rum that we actually produced, that went into bourbon casks as well, ex-bourbon casks.
Oh, okay.
So.
You can really feel the baseline, and now this is a bit of a more hefty one.
Yeah.
No, this is not one of these lighter rums. This is one of these heftier rum. Oh, this has a spiciness to it. Didn't expect that. So the baseline you had with the first one, and you feel like the bourbon cask that you can feel coming through. That's very short. Yeah. That's very short here, and it's a spicy one. 46%. It's really already has some kick to it. So you've been here for 4.5 years. How much expansion did you have in that time?
Oh, huge amount. So
did you like walk into the wrong buildings when they?
I suppose the guys started. They started distilling in a shed in Union Hall back in
2003.
2003, yeah. 2012, 2013. They bought the first site of any substance in Market Street. And they outgrew that within 4 or 5 years, and they bought this place in 2018. So we didn't actually start building anything here until 2019, 2020. So everything you see around the place is within the last 4 or 5 years. Really, there was no distillery here. All that was here is this old building here that you're in at the moment. So the distillery building, all the tanks, everything around the place is all new since 2020.
Did your jobs change anything at all during changes?
Yeah, when you from a distillation point of view, or
like total view, distillation point of view is probably.
Yeah, I suppose it did change quite a bit. Like the fermenters obviously got a lot bigger, so we would have traditionally been fermenting 15,000 litre vessels. Now we're fermenting 80,000 litre vessels. So I suppose we had to be conscious of the stress and the yeast because we were going so high with the fermenters. So there was a lot of trials done there to make sure that it wasn't going to affect the wash before it goes to the still as well. So there was a lot of it was a bit of a juggling act trying to get everything as it was in Market Street, I suppose.
So what do you have like to fiddle around with? Is it like temperature or?
Yeah, I suppose before we even ordered the fermenters, we had to do trials in the lab to see what obviously the hydrostatic pressure on the yeast, what difference that made to the yeast and what difference it made to the wash in the inn. So we had to make sure, because those fermenters outside there, they're 15 meters tall, and the older ones were only about 4 or 5 meters tall. So we had to be sure that if we went from a 4 or 5 meter high fermenter to 15 meters high, that it wasn't going to affect our wash and essentially the spirit that we put into the stills.
I think fermenters is where the flavor comes from.
Yeah,
the others is just picking the flavors out. Yeah. But if you don't create the right flavors, it's you can always work with a bit of a cask. And so the Calvados, I've heard that is a bit newer, and it was like Calvados is something like with apples. I'm familiar with sherry and rum.
Yeah, it's an apple wine from my understanding. No, I wouldn't be hugely educated with it.
But it's fun to have these things where you're not that versatile in, because everybody has a sherry. Everybody nowadays has a rum. Yeah. And having a Calvados or an IPA or something is something special. Yeah. And I like it. That you have something. Okay, you can feel the baseline again, like the 3 years bourbon, definitely. And it's very, very fresh fruity. It feels like a bit of that typical, that when you have the new make with the pear and the apple. Yeah. Yeah, that has a bit of that touch to it.
Coming through from the Calvados, yeah.
Without the high spirit new make. Yeah. that is missing here. That is good.
What's your favourite out of the three malts so far?
That is really like an orchard. It has a bit of a cider flavor.
Yeah.
I'm a cider guy. So I like it. A bit more of a oaky types, like I don't know if there's a matured cider or something. From these three, I was amazed with the rum.
Yeah.
I was amazed with the rum because it just took me off my feet, because I was expecting something very much different. Yeah. I was expecting the usual easy vanilla rum that you get like from an easy, like a Bacardi or something like that. But this was more of a spicy, maybe a little bit into the Jamaican style or something like this. This is a hefty rum that you packed in there, and I liked it. So I would go for the rum. But the others were also fine. They were really, really good. Yeah.
Sherry, now I think we do, I don't know if you've tried our 7-year-old single malt.
Yeah, I think I did, yeah.
Yeah, it's high notes of sherry off it. I think it's one of our nicest finishes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'm really excited about the future. There's a bit of a rearranging I've heard, and I'll leave it up to the rumor mill, and keep subscribing to the whiskey.com news. I will probably have that in the news. And thank you very much for having us here.
Pleasure.
And answering all the questions.
Thanks a million.
And and thank you very much for watching. And if you found this video interesting, then please feel free to share it with your friends, and see you next time.